the Palestinians in Gaza were hoping for a truce before Ramadan. But that now looks like a distant dream. There are fears of a looming famine. And more than Israeli bombs, it is now the fear of hunger that is gnawing away at the Palestinians in Gaza. With the situation worsening, the United States now wants to build a port to provide humanitarian assistance to the people in the besieged strip. The airdrops, of course, continue, but that, of course, is aid that is too little and is also proving to be dangerous. Our next report tells you as to how Joe Biden is perhaps failing to pick up the phone and ask the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu and say that Netanyahu must allow for more humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip, as it is the State of Israel that controls all the access points into the besieged Palestinian enclave. Listen in.
The smouldering ruins of Gaza. The cries of the injured, the desperate pleas for help. Yet the response from the West is of hypocrisy. Airdropping aid to the besieged strip and now calls for building a port to deliver aid. Gestures that are seemingly due to political expediency rather than genuine concern.
So what I'm trying to understand is, why is the United States providing bombs and ammunition and financial support to a government that has stated its intent to starve civilians, and then use these methods, and so giving Israel no restraint, no substantive constraint on money and weapons?
For months, Israel has rained bombs on Gaza, vowing to eliminate Hamas, which launched a terror attack on October 7th. But on the ground, it is inflicting a devastating humanitarian crisis.
More than 30,000 Palestinians have been killed, most of whom are not Hamas. Thousands and thousands of innocent women and children, girls and boys, also orphaned. Nearly 2 million more Palestinians under bombardment or displacement. Homes destroyed, neighborhoods in rubble, cities in ruin. Families without food, water, medicine. It's heartbreaking.
The initial response from the West? Airdropping aid. This option seems tragically inadequate, with reports of 5 civilians who died after a parachute failed on an aid package which was dropped by air into Gaza. With experts saying that the airdrop is too little too late. Now, West has a new proposal, delivering aid via the sea. Plans are afoot to build a floating port to speed up aid to Gaza.
But this new idea from the President of the United States, which we're involved in, of building a temporary harbour in Gaza, means that aid will be able to go directly from Cyprus to Gaza. But it's going to take time to build.
The Cyprus Maritime Corridor aims at scaling up aid by complementing other routes that include the all-important Rafah crossing point from Egypt and the airdrops from Jordan.
But why the sea? Well, because Israel isn't allowing adequate aid into Gaza. Land crossings, the most efficient way to deliver aid, remain choked by Israeli restrictions. Rafah, the sole crossing point on the border with Egypt, is tightly controlled by Israel, while Kerem Shalom, the main passage for goods, operates at a fraction of its capacity. The US president had a hot mic moment expressing mounting frustration with Netanyahu.
I told him, baby, show me pieces. I said, he didn't know I come.
With ceasefire talks in limbo and with bombing continuing, hope on the horizon is fading. Now it's not just Israeli bombs that are killing people in war-ravaged Gaza. Some are dying of hunger. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
All right, now to give us more perspective in terms of what kind of aid, humanitarian aid, is being airdropped by the Americans, and is it enough? We're being joined by Mr. Mohammed Najib, who's in fact a journalist and also a war correspondent and a security analyst. He's joining us live from Ramallah in Palestine. Now, Mr. Najib, give us a sense of what's in fact unfolding at this moment with respect to the humanitarian catastrophe. And according to reports that have come in, the Americans are said to be airdropping 35,000 meals for the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip, where the population of starving people is said to be about 2.3 million. Is this aid enough?
Yes, actually, on the 155th day of the Israeli war and siege on Gaza, the humanitarian situation are catastrophic. The 2.3 million Palestinians in Gaza suffers of starvation and shortage of medicine, and the dropped food by the U.S. Air Force or by the Royal Jordanian Air Force is not enough for Palestinians who are 700,000 north in Gaza, and Israel doesn't allow any trucks of food supplies or humanitarian aids to reach them. Therefore, they are sufferers of starvation, and some died because of starvation during the past days, according to the Palestinian official sources there. After tomorrow, Ramadan months start, and this is the worst Ramadan the Palestinian witnessed since the war in 1967, whereas the 2.3 million Palestinians are suffered in Gaza. In regular days, Gaza needs 500 trucks to be provided Gaza with food supplies and humanitarian aids during the land crossing, but Israel don't allow that, and no one knows why the American cannot pressure the Israeli government to allow the opening of the land crossings, to allow the entry of the food. There are hundreds of food supplies trucks are waiting on the Egyptian side of Rafah crossing, but Israel doesn't allow that. Just 8 or to 9 trucks per day sometimes allowed to enter, and this is not enough for the Palestinians who have no income and depend on the food that dropped to them from the air. And we hear that about for the second times when the people were running and to catch the dropped little food. They killed today 5 and last day also during the week. So it is a catastrophic situation and humiliating situation.
That's a point that I want you to elaborate a little bit on, because there are reports of 5 Palestinians getting killed, not by an Israeli bomb, but by this aid that was dropped by the Americans. How did this even happen?
The Americans and the Royal Jordanian Air Force dropped the food from the air, and its land, because of the wind, move sometimes to the sea, sometimes to eastern Gaza, on the roofs of the top roofs of the houses. So the people who are hungry and want to feed their families running and jumping to catch this food. There's little food. It's not enough for 700,000 who are in northern Gaza. And during that, it falls on them because it was a operational mistake, as experts say, and the 5 killed and another 11 were injured for the second time. But this is not the solution. Everyone here is wonder why the United States, how the United States cannot pressure Israel, force Israel to allow the opening of the land crossings and enter the food to the Palestinians there. It's not the weapons. They are food, supplies, and medicines to feed those people. How they can continue to suffer from starvation and die of hunger after those 155 days.
All right. We'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed, Ms. Najib, for joining us and getting us that perspective from Ramallah there.
Thank you.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.